stirring the coffee with massively huge chopsticks, using big chopstick energy in the Vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee. At the molecular level, good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, Nicaraguan coffee made cowboy coffee style in a bird coffee mug. I was talking about birds yesterday, so I reached for my bird coffee mug. It's got several different birds on it, cardinals to be exact. Perfect. Well, today is a special day. Today is the 5-year anniversary of this channel. 5 years. Holy cow. 5 years. February 3rd, 2016 was my first video. I actually made it in the salon that I was working at. Just a little bit of encouragement for the bearded guys. In the same way that curly hair girls get frizzy during rainy and damp weather, your beard can get out of control and misbehave. Don't be tempted to trim it. Just let it go. Everything will be fine tomorrow or the next day. I had a private men's grooming studio in the back of a salon. Some of you remember that. It had its little private entrance, its own bathroom. It was away from all the ladies up front, and it was perfect. It was nice. It was masculine. It was private. I was in no hurry. That's when I actually started making appointments rather than cutting hair in walk-in shops. You know, if I'm cutting someone's hair and there's 3, 4, 5 people waiting, I'm always thinking I got to hurry on this one here so I can get to these other ones here. But I always felt like that cheated the person out of a perfectly good haircut and a haircut experience. So I started making all my hair cutting through appointments. And that way I could take my time, I could focus on anything, if there was any challenges, any weird cowlicks in a person's hair, because I'm what many people would call more of a scissor cutter, not a clipper cutter. And I always felt hair is like a granite or marble block, and the hair is a sculpture. And not unlike Michelangelo, who would chip off the marble. Once that marble comes off, you can't put it back on. So you take a little bit off and you start to create shapes. And once hair hits the floor, you're not going to put it back on. And I'm kind of a 3-dimensional cutter. I don't just stay behind a chair and turn the chair. I'm not much of a chair turning kind of guy when you get your hair cut by me. You go to a lot of places and they spin you around like it's crazy. I would rather do the moving around the person's head and keep the person in front of the mirror, because I use the mirror to see how they look. Like if you are the mirror, and I have someone right here, I am constantly looking at the head and then looking at the mirror. And then I back up and I get like a little bit of a distant view perspective of the person's head. I'm weird. And I know it. And so does everyone I work with. But that's okay. I'm different. I knew I was different from a young age. And I did a video on that. When did you first know that you were different? So I have no problem with being who I am. You should have no problem with who you are. If you're trying to be weird just to be different, that can't last. That's just LARPing. That's live action role play. That's just putting on a mask. Be authentic, be yourself. If you're weird, if you're uncomfortable, if you're nerdy, if whatever, don't try to be like other people. Don't be like other people. Be yourself. Hold a door for a woman and you are a gentleman. Hold a revolving door for a woman and you're arrested. I don't know where I first heard that, but I thought it was pretty funny. Altogether, I think we got, it's definitely over 2 feet of snow where I am. I'm looking out. I don't know, I'm guessing. I'm not sure if it was 30 inches, but we got at least 26, 28 inches of snow. That was fun. I shoveled yesterday morning and I shoveled yesterday afternoon when I got out of work. And that was work. I'm a little bit sore from that, but like sore in a good way. Like I kind of worked out sore. Yeah. So it's not bad. In the past, I would shovel snow and I would be so sore that I would take some Advil, ibuprofen, just to take the edge off. And I noticed that when I shovel smarter, I don't throw anything off. I don't end up with sciatica. I don't end up with some weird pain. But I bend my knees a little bit and take less snow on the shovel. And then when I toss it, I kind of straighten my knees out, straighten my legs out a little bit when I toss the snow, as opposed to this, get as much snow as you can on the shovel, and then just kind of like, grizzly bear it as far away from, the path as you can. I don't do that anymore, because that always leads to some kind of pulled muscle. So it's like half the shovel, rather than, and then I complain for 2 days after that something hurts. So it might take a little bit longer, but it's much smarter. And here it is the next day, and I feel good. I don't know how true this saying is, but it has been attributed to Ernest Hemingway. The world breaks everyone, and afterward, some are strong at the broken places. I believe that's true, and that strength comes from choices that you make. Did you get your heart broken? Be stronger at that place of breaking than you were before. If you keep getting hurt at the same place over and over and over again, you need to change your methods. It's like I did with shoveling snow. Every year when I was just trying to shovel as much snow as I can, as fast as I can, I always got hurt in the same place. Oh, it's always the same spot in my back, just like, What about in relationships? Do you keep getting hurt in the same place over and over? Maybe you need to change your relationship style. Are you diving in? Are you love bombing? We're going to be doing a special maybe tomorrow or Friday on love bombing. Did you ever get love bombed by somebody? We're going to talk about that. It's going to be a single topic episode of the Daybreak Show. But do you get stronger after you get broken? Or do you just keep getting broken in the same place over and over and over? Only you can answer that. A friend of mine turned 60 yesterday. How do I know that? Because he announced it all over his Facebook. Guy I went to university with, Harrison. I knew Harrison well because he was the only other guy in the dorm. We were in the same dorm, men's dorm. We did not have mixed dorms. We had men's dorms and women's dorms. And there was a ironing board in a storage closet in the hallway. And you take it out, use it, and put it away. And I'm like, the heck with that, that's too much work. So I kept the ironing board and an iron right outside my dorm room. And there was a plug right outside my dorm room. And there was only one other person that used the iron. I'm the kind of guy that when I was a shirt and tie guy, and I went to a Christian university, one of the schools that I went to several schools. This was the only one where you had to really dress up. And it was shirt and tie every day. Every single day. Shirt and tie. Every day. And I was the kind of guy that ironed my shirt every day. Even when I was in business, I always wanted to look crisp. Always. I just wanted my shirt to look like it just came out of the dry cleaners. Because as a college student, I wasn't going to take all my shirts to the dry cleaners. So I ironed my own shirts. The only other person in the whole dorm, out of hundreds of guys, one other guy ironed his shirts. So we got to know each other. It was funny. And he was an early bird too. He was always up early. And we became good friends. And at class reunions and homecoming weekends when I would go back to the university, he was the one guy that I would just hug the hardest. It was just always so good to see him. And he never aged. To me, I look at him and I still see the same, 20-year-old guy. He's 60, but I still see the 20-year-old guy. It's funny. And he was the kind of guy that there's probably a lot of people that called him their best friend. He was like everybody's best friend. But he had the room next to mine. in the dorm room. So we spent a lot of time just shooting the breeze, philosophizing, talking about life. He was funny. We had a lot of fun times together, just pranking people and today, or yesterday, I guess, he turned 60. And that's interesting. He was trim, always jacked, low body fat, just always jacked, always. Naturally. Where everyone else was, working hard to bulk up, like my crew. He wasn't part of my crew. We were all like bulking. He was just like trim jacked. But because our rooms were across from one another, we just saw each other often. Coffee, cup of soup. Remember cup of soup? Hot chocolate, late at night. Shooting the breeze. Ironing our shirts together in the morning. Good guy. I got to have him on the channel. I would just love to have a Harrison Day. You might love him. I think he's a very lovable, likable human being. The most likable guy. And he went through a big thing when he turned 60. I saw on Facebook, he went scuba diving, he got a massage, and all of this was alone. So the aloneness, he's a guy that's not afraid to be alone, like myself. And it was interesting. I had a girlfriend in college. He had a girlfriend in college. But we did enjoy times away from the ladies and just shoot the breeze. And to this day, I saw him many years later after, I'm talking 30 years later. He and I connected just like we were 20 years old. I want you to meet him, but I have to find out. I want to find out if he's okay, if he's not hurting, because I don't want to advertise someone's pain, because I just started seeing him in the past year without his wife in pictures and stuff, and I don't know if they split, or maybe I missed it, I don't know. But I would love to introduce you to my friends. I have to laugh at someone who wrote me a note. I get 80 to 100 messages, either from email or private messaging from various sources. 80 to 100 a day. I read everyone. I can't respond to everyone. And some are long, really long. And I love everybody. I love you, dude. And miss all of you guys out there. But especially you. And I appreciate how you communicate with me. And you're open with me. And if I get a chance, I write back or at least acknowledge you. But I do read every single message that you send me. I do. So a guy sends me a message. I got to find it here. He took a screenshot when I was, I think it's funny, when I was talking about like other content creators that like bring the a-hole out of somebody. And I said something like, follow me, assholes, or something like that. And he took a screenshot of it. I think it's funny. It just made me laugh. Sometimes I'll say things that aren't funny to me at the moment, but other people are dying from. You ever have situations like that? Where you just might think something is very funny and no one else does. But when I look back on it now, that was a pretty funny thing. Some of the funniest things are the most spontaneous. Best meme of the week so far. Actually, it's of the year, because I think it's pretty funny. Her, babe, come over. Him, I can't, I'm studying. Her, I've gathered the forces to retake Constantinople. And then me, it shows a guy on a horse, an Orthodox guy on a horse, just like tearing through the woods. I just got such a kick out of that. I just remember being in the Orthodox Church when I was a kid, when I was a young man. Never hearing what anyone said, just always being in awe of the church. The gold everywhere, the altar, the robes, the beards, just being in awe. And then next thing I knew, my mother would be like tugging on my suit jacket, because we wore suits and ties, tugging on me, saying, okay, time to go. And I wasn't done looking. Because to me, it's like going to an Orthodox service was just like Disneyland to me. It was just like, just looking at, the paintings everywhere, the gilded gold icons everywhere. And it was just like a parade. It was just beautiful. It was gorgeous. You will probably make some people angry when you start doing what's best for you. Do it anyways. Think about it. What do you need to follow? What do you need to do to monetize your life? It's probably something different than what you're doing now, isn't it? That's why I tell people you need to get unstuck in life, love, and career. And those things are intertwined. When those things are kind of like humming, all in the same, level, life is good. You know what stinks is going to a job you hate. Being with someone who you're not sure if you love them or they love you. And just overall in life. I mean, can you just imagine, having like a beer belly, your measurement size, like your chest is smaller than your waist size? Having a relationship or being desperate and having no relationship, going to a job that sucks. I mean, where do you even begin to get your crap together? Where do you even start? What do you do? And I'm not making fun of anyone. I'm just saying you got to start somewhere, don't you? Some people like you fat. Some people like you dependent on them. Some people like you very predictable. That's also a form of being stuck. Might be time to stop that. I would totally live in a double wide trailer or a huge Airstream if it was on a beach. Right? Put a double wide out in the country and it's like you live in a trailer. Put that double wide on the beach, all of a sudden you're smart. I would totally live in a double wide on a beach. Or a very big Airstream. I would do that in 2 seconds. Would you? People in Pennsylvania are still wearing masks in the woods, hiking on the hiking trails. Masks on in the woods. And in cars while driving alone. Full delusional mode. Holy cow. Come on, man. Come on. I feel bad for my black friends that walked away from the Democrat Party only to find that the Republican Party is just as slimy. Remember that walk away movement? Walk away from the Democrats. And a lot of my black friends were like, I'm going to become a Republican. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then they become a Republican, and then they find out that the Republicans are just as scummy and slimy and crooked as the Democrats. It's like, geez, where do I go now? Now you become a man or a woman without a party. Like me. And then you become an independent. Your mind is not for rent by Democrats or Republicans. Going into a store with a mask on in the past would get you shot by the owner. Going into a store now, not wearing a mask, will get you arrested in Pennsylvania. It truly is clown world. 2020, the year that people got arrested for opening businesses. 2020, the year that if you looted a business, you wouldn't get arrested. Is that going to happen again in 2021? I think it is. There's a few events that are coming up that will start some riots in cities. We'll talk about them at another time, but I don't want that to dominate today's show. You're a criminal. In 2020, you were a criminal if you opened a business during lockdown. But if you threw bricks and burned the business, you're a hero. Saw your shadow yesterday? 6 more weeks of beard. And with that, finish your coffee in a bird mug. And I'll see you tomorrow on the Daybreak Show, your home of sanity, clarity, and reason.